and welcome to the Fixing Football podcast with me, Martin Naylor. I'm here with Liam O'Meara and Luke Foley. We are back from busy week, Liam. I think we need to tell Luke all about it.
Yeah, big week at the FCA Awards, Martin. A nice day. We had some fun, made some friends. Didn't win the award, but
No.
you know, we didn't even really see the award get announced. But that's a different story. But yeah, really good day. What did you think of it?
I thought it was good. It was a great chance to meet other people who are a little bit like us, some a lot more further down the line, and some other ones who are, just as big or small as us as we are currently. And yeah, it was great to meet some people who are, doing the similar sort of thing. It's like quite reassuring. I thought felt like we were in the right place at the right time. Speaking of the right place, it was hosted at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Luke, have you ever been there?
What, Spurs?
Yeah.
No, I try to avoid London. You know this.
Why?
Because I hate that place.
But aren't most Man United fans from there?
Most of them, yeah. Only slept through from up here.
It does live up to the hype. It's a very good stadium. But I dread to think what the sort of club level where we were. I dread to think what the price of them tickets would be on a match day. It was very what would the word be, Liam? How would you describe it up there?
Hefty. Also,
hefty.
Where do you park? Because there's only like a few hundred people there when we were there, and it holds about 70,000, and we couldn't find anywhere to park anywhere near the stadium.
No parking. I was actually speaking to someone from Hertfordshire today who was a Spurs fan, and he was like, "Yeah, don't know, mate." Like he goes to the games. He's like, "Where do you park?" And he had no idea. What an absolute mess of place to park, Luke.
Also, when we say no parking, we don't mean like it's difficult. We mean zero parking.
There are zero spaces. There's some for the football club that are underneath, which are impossible to get hold of. You can't get them, or that's it. Just chance it on the streets.
Yeah, because we go on,
mate. I was going to say you wouldn't park though, because everything in London is now it's just a tube. It's just a tube away.
There's cars though, so they must stop at some point. Like, what are all these cars that are going around? Where do their journeys end? Because it feels like there's no place to stop your car.
There isn't a tube stop like I know, like at Arsenal, they have one right outside, or even at Bolton Wanderers where they have the train station 1 minute from the stadium. There isn't one that close. It's probably a 10-minute walk to the nearest tube station. So
we pulled up, didn't we, outside, and we're like, "What's the nearest place to park?" It's like, "What, park?" What?
Yeah. Couldn't believe it.
As if no one has ever asked him that question before. Like, we've come from a place that's not here, and we need to leave the car somewhere. And
I'm surprised he even talked to Liam from down there. I'm surprised he just didn't walk off.
He was a little affronted by the fact we'd asked him a question.
Yeah, we did ask a stranger in London a question, and it was almost our downfall. It was a good night, though. I enjoyed it. Met some good people, the lads at Score 90, Liam. Very nice. Who sat on our table.
Yeah, some great to speak to them and find out sort of what they were doing, and it was a really interesting sort of hearing the fact that they are completely behind their account, aren't they? Like they're almost the complete unknowns. Yeah,
faceless account. They just post like Instagram reels and images. Instagram's a big one. It seems it doesn't really serve the best.
2.4 million followers on there.
Yeah, it doesn't really serve the best for podcast content unless you're trying to go viral with clips. But it's not sort of our game, so it's totally different. But yeah, totally faceless account and.
I wouldn't mind going viral with clips. It's just actually interesting enough. Yeah, I thought our Will I Am clip might have got us out there, but no, it's not worked yet.
Still our worst performing of all time. Luke, what have you been up to? Oh, hold on. In fact, we'll come to you in a minute. What else? We met Gilberto Silva, Liam.
We did meet Gilberto Silva. Very nice man.
An Arsenal Invincible was there behind enemy lines.
Was he an Invincible? Yeah.
Yeah. Don't know, of course he is.
But I mean, of course he is. Yeah, all right, yeah. He seemed very nice, didn't he? Nice guy.
Yeah, he was very, yeah.
Did he? I don't think he stayed all night, though. I think he left about halfway through.
They tried to get him to give out an award and he'd gone by then.
Yeah.
He's had his food.
That was it.
Yeah.
Who was he there? Who was he there with? I know you asked him.
His production company who host like a couple podcasts and other accounts who would been nominated for an award, or maybe as an Arsenal representative, because I know he does a lot of like ambassador stuff. I know Arsenal were up for everything.
Well, Arsenal won everything and it almost confirmed my long-held belief that Arsenal is the most militant fan base out there. Every single fan-voted award, Luke, was won by an Arsenal podcast. So
apart from one where we came second to City, which was fun.
A familiar feeling in a lot of ways.
Yeah, that one didn't sting as much as you'd thought. No, it was. I think Arsenal have always been the most like engaged socially.
That's an interesting word, but yeah, they are. I agree. I do agree.
Yeah. Other than that, we didn't win. Apparently, Luke, we were 1 vote short, so just that little bit more could have helped. If everyone would have pulled in the same direction, maybe we could have got something over the line. But there's always next year.
Yeah, we were pipped by Fulhamish into third, weren't we?
Fulhamish. But then Arsenal Vision, which has like millions of followers every week. It's like ridiculous. But yeah, well done to everyone. Anyone who's listening who was there at the awards, it was really nice to catch up with. So we appreciate that. Before we get on to Luke Foley and his life, we still have the David Beckham signed shirt competition. So all the details will be somewhere down below. And yes, please get involved with that. I want to get... we need a real steep increase in uptake.
And we also kept our integrity because we were offered on numerous occasions to give this shirt up for a few retweets.
We really were.
On other well-followed Instagram pages. So we kept our integrity and didn't do that. So well done, Martin. I probably would have caved on that, but you held your ground, so fair enough.
And last point, we also met the guy behind Retro Football Shirts and Mystery Football Shirts. They were giving out gifts on the tables. And I do have our prize here, Liam. Do you remember the team who it was? So this is what we got in our in our pack. This is what we got in our pack, Luke. Who's
the team?
What do you mean? Who's the team? This is clearly SF Ferenc from the Polish second division.
Oh,
it's right, obvious.
Okay. Johnny Russian plays for them.
Johnny Russian
is
probably not.
Yeah, is that a large as well?
It is a large. It still doesn't fit.
No, never a large.
Yeah, no, they were great guys as well.
Was fan favourite Mark Goldbridge there?
No.
Voice of the fans of Man United.
Mark White was, though, the manager of Dorking Wanderers, behind the bunch of amateurs team who came away with a win as well. But yeah, we didn't get to catch up with him. Or Stumpeg, who I would have liked to meet.
We were distracted by Fat Boy from EastEnders.
Yeah, Ricky. Yeah, he was solid, wasn't he, as well?
Did us a video. Didn't ask him to. He just jumped in, didn't he? We were probably building to it, but he just probably wanted rid of us, to be honest.
Yeah, let me get this phone and let me do this video.
Yeah, right. Fuck off, lads.
In the spirit of fucking off, Luke Foley, how was your weekend? It's been a while since you've been on the podcast, so I think people need an update.
Weekend was interesting. I had 2 races that I did. I did get chemically attacked from the baby's nursery last week, so I wasn't in a great shape. But I thought I'd do the races anyway, so I did an all right performance. The first one on Saturday was a European qualifying for cross country, so I was nowhere near the front of the pack. The second one was Winslow 10K, which on heavy legs I came out with 32 minutes 49, which is not a bad time. But yeah, ready for next cross country race next weekend.
Is it not seasonal?
Yeah, cross country starts October time, finishes February time.
Is it not muddy?
Sounds like the opposite of what I meant. So it's like a winter sport running.
Yeah. So cross country is your winter, and then you move into your fells and your road. when it's obviously a lot brighter.
But surely you would run on the road when it's wet and cold.
Well, you do. You have to train for marathons when they have the spring marathons. Yeah. But all winter, it's mainly cross country. That's always, it's always been that.
Well, now you know. If you're interested in child sports, check out Luke Foley and he'll get behind him. Let's start with Bolton Wanderers, Liam.
Of course, Bolton Wanderers.
Left it late against Blackpool.
We've done that a few times recently. Quite a few last-minute winners, particularly at home. But, yeah, big win. Obviously, a lot of people were not too happy after our recent defeat away at Stockport before the international break. So, a lot of negativity around the place. And to be fair, after half-time, it was not going anywhere because it was a very poor first half. But they did rally. A really good second-half performance. Really, really strong. So that's what you want to see, really. In terms of standout performances, the performance of George Thomas in midfield was really, really strong. Back from injury, captain's performance against his old club, really pulled us over the line.
Has he just signed a new contract, or was that the other one? Was that Sheehan?
Sheehan's just signed a new contract.
Right, okay.
To be fair, Thomason signed one not ages ago, to be fair. So, yeah. And then obviously a last-minute winner from Aaron Collins, who has been quite poor of late. You know, there was a lot of expectation on him when we signed him for Bristol Rovers. So hopefully gets a bit of confidence from this goal and kicks on from there. But another game, well, when this goes out tonight, away at Cambridge, so the game's coming back in thick and fast. So if we can follow that up with another win, we're sort of back in the mix a little bit again. It can soon turn around, but I still do worry that we're always a couple defeats away from a crisis at the moment.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I didn't see much of it, but let's talk about Arsenal before we get on to Manchester United, Luke. What would you like? Would you like to ask any questions, Liam, or shall I just go for it?
No, go for it first, and then I may follow up, because usually what you say provokes questions.
I thought it was our best performance of the season. Now, there's a lot of things nuanced to that, like Nottingham Forest played sort of like a Nottingham Forest you'd expect them to play, not the one that we've seen so far this season where, you know, they started the day above us in the league. So I thought it was going to be a hard one, but we just looked really fresh. It was an interesting 11 as well. I was sort of surprised that he started Trossard because I don't think he's been playing well. He started Jorginho and also started, who else did he start? Jesus up front to get his first start of the season. So, really interesting.
Why do you think he made those changes?
Well, I don't think Declan Rice is fully right yet, and I think it was an opportunity to test Mourinho out with another partner in midfield, given Odegaard was back. I think his profile... I think Jorginho suits the profile of the other three centre midfielders we have the best, but he doesn't have the legs to do it week in, week out. So we've got to be moving away from him. That's my only suggestion. Havertz played twice for Germany. Martinelli was over in Brazil. I know Gabriel was, but for an attacking play, it's probably more heavy on your legs, and so that's my choice there. And the same with Jesus, who needs to play. And I think if we can get a tune out of him, like he didn't score again, obviously, but if we can get a tune out of him, he did everything but score. Yes, on Saturday, I thought he had a good game. I thought the first 20 minutes was brilliant from us. We had I was saying to you in the group a couple of weeks ago that we have so many shots and we don't have enough shots. Sorry, we probably have a great conversion rate, but we don't have enough shots. We'd had 11 shots by half time this weekend, so I think we was moving in the right direction. Odegaard was brilliant and just found himself in the pocket. Saka looked super fresh. His goal actually reminded me of like Alexis Sanchez almost. He just sort of drove through.
Super fresh. Obviously, that's quite encouraging coming back off his injury over the international breaks. That's good that you think he was pretty fresh after that.
Yeah, we've benefited from him having a rest and not being forced to go and play nothing matches for England.
Well,
I'm behind this decision anyway.
Against Bolton Wanderers in the League Cup, playing 90 minutes in that game. Didn't need a rest then.
He didn't play 90 minutes in that game.
How many minutes did he play?
He played about 10.
He started.
Oh yeah, he played 45.
He started the game.
He did, Jay, right? I was thinking of the Preston game.
Like Ødegaard as well. Ødegaard gets his rest from Norway. Do you not think
he's been out for 2.5 months?
But no. Look, I'm just glad Saka was all right. I was worried. They were big England games. I bet he must have hated missing them. So it's good to see he's back playing again.
Talking about rest, I know it's a long way away, but I don't know why Chris Wood wouldn't have started, especially with the form he's on. Like, if he's available, he was available because he obviously is in the starting squad. Why not play your best informed player? I know he's played in Auckland, but
it's quite far away.
Yeah, but if he's there, you play him.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, you're probably right. Maybe I don't know.
The calculation, I think, is you're probably not going to win at Arsenal away. Yeah. So, and is it Awoniyi, the number 2 big man up front?
Awoniyi.
He's not awful, is he? He's a pretty good player. So, for me, the calculation is save Chris Wood for another day. I think that's probably the thinking, Luke. I get what you're saying, but not even for a season.
Team?
Is it?
Is he in Luke's fantasy team? Is that why you're asking?
No.
Arsenal season, Forest's season isn't going to be defined by Arsenal away.
No. But, and in the grand scheme of things, I wouldn't have thought this was going to be a difficult match. But the way that the season has panned out, it really could have been if things had gone a different way early on. But we started well, played really well. I'm really glad we got people involved like Sterling and give people rest like Calafiore and played 60 minutes and stuff like that. I thought it was a good game all round. Very encouraging coming off the international break. Because usually that first game can be a bit hit and miss sometimes, whether if people are leggy and you haven't got the squad depth, but we have. And I'm hoping that it's like, I'm hoping it's out of the ordinary in a good way for Arteta to be rotating a bit more. Just being involved in and using the squad, because he's been notorious for not rotating when we could do. And now we have got that big squad. I'm glad that he is doing it. So, that's Arsenal. Back.
No controversies. No anything against the rest. Because
do you know what, there was one?
Well, they won, Luke, didn't they?
Well, it's funny.
There was one that was and so Arsenal brought Jorginho off at half time, and I think that was because he was on a yellow. And then it brought Partey on, obviously Partey scored. But there was one right before half time with I can't remember the Forest player, but he'd stood in front of Trossard, and it was he stood in front of Trossard, he was walking away, and Trossard he got him booked, he booted the ball at him and got him booked. I thought it was dead soft, and he ended up getting subbed at half time as well. And you could see it because Arsenal do a bench cam review afterwards. And when the Nottingham Forest player got booked, the Arsenal staff on the bench said to Arteta, gestured about Jorginho for half time. If people are getting these soft yellows, we're going to be down to 10 men again dead soon in the second half, because it was just the way that the game was going. So that was sort of good management. It was harsh on Jorginho because he was playing well, but taking him off at half time. So no real controversies, but that's all.
Okay. No, fair enough.
Is that all right, Luke?
Yeah, it sounded like it was a all positive game. It's weird that when you win, there's no kind of dubious decisions that occur.
What are you insinuating?
Oh, just recently been listening to you. Some of the reviews you've been doing for Arsenal. There's always some dubious occurrence that's happened against the Arsenal. Some ref has not made a decision. Well,
I watch them the most, and I care a lot less if it happens for us. So I'm obviously going to mention the ones for us, against us. It's the whole point, isn't it? Cool.
So actually, I'll do this. So speaking of decisions, Luke, the decision to change Man United manager, to bring in the Messiah, the chosen one, the second special one into it. How do you think that went, Luke?
Well, if we go off the first 2 minutes, it looks very exciting. The rest of the match, wow, there's a lot of work to be done.
You weren't happy on the chat. You were saying it, United looked, how did you put it, scared or inexperienced or something?
You called him a fraud, didn't you, Amarin?
I did not call him a fraud.
Is he?
That's false accusations that way. No, it's the first game, and I think the players that we got at the moment, the system that he wants to play, is I just don't think some of them players, especially in the second half, are up for it. We just looked very inexperienced and players all over the place when he made the subs. We need someone like a Victor Moses for Chelsea, for a Conte. That when Conte went in for Chelsea, Victor Moses was an unbelievable player. But
I think Diallo could be that for you.
No, he was bad. Diallo was very bad.
I'm inclined to disagree. I think he made a few errors defensively, but I think Mazraoui was stitching him up quite a lot, like in terms of being available for the ball. Because Diallo's never played that position before, so he was looking for a bit of help from his right centre back, and Mazraoui I'm not sure about him, to be honest, but he's playing out of position slightly. I suppose.
Can I ask? But I didn't watch the match. Was it the 3-4-3 that we've been talking about?
So he's playing with flying wing backs, and the first goal was basically that Diallo ran from
flying as a wing back,
and just passed it through to Rashford, who was the lone striker up front. Now, if that's going to be, is Rashford going to be the main man? I doubt it. Because other than that, he scored a goal and he was just quiet and he was doing misplaced passes. I just think the system, a lot of players are going to have to get used to it. It's not going to be a quick win. We're going to see loads of results. I think it's a work in progress, definitely.
I've seen a lot of United fans having a go at Rashford after that game. And do you think there's an agenda against him now? Do you think people because he scored? And it was almost like, I've seen somebody comments with, I know he scored, and I feel like there's quite a lot of other players that didn't really play that well for yesterday. And I feel like United fans seem to be very sure to make sure that Rashford isn't part of Amarin's plans. It's almost like the fans are doubling down on Rashford a little bit.
I think there's a little bit of that, Liam, to be honest. I think the performances throughout this season and last, they've put a bit of taste in a lot of fans' mouths for Rashford.
Yeah, no. I get the feeling like they don't want Rashford to get a chance under Amarin. Like almost him starting up front was a problem for a lot of United fans. Like, as if to say, we don't want everyone can have a clean slate except Rashford. Was kind of like I'm not just on my wind up here. That's genuinely how I felt. Like, and I spoke to United fans sort of in the aftermath at work today, and every one of them included a little go at Rashford in there, and it feels like that's because the last thing they want is Rashford starting up front for United, in my view. But
if he plays this system, I do see Rashford could really work out in that role. If it's that flying system and it's attacking, counter-attacking, then yeah, Rashford be up for it. I'm not seeing something from Rasmus yet to make me think, wow, he can be the new who was Sporting Lisbon's star striker.
Gyökeres.
Yeah, I don't think he's at that caliber. No way.
I agree. I'll tell you what though, Luke, before we move on, we'll like poor Højlund, but I'm gonna have a thing about Xerxes.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I don't know who made that signing. Well, we know who made that signing.
Well, on paper, it looked. I mean, we didn't know about it. I'm not going to pretend all of a sudden that we were experts in Bologna last season, but like,
he is a bad player. And he looks so far away from even a mid-level Premier League standard footballer. He looks so far off it. It's mad.
International duty, he got booed as well. I think he got rated a 3 in the international. Came on and it was horrendous. But just
Can I ask you what you
before,
think of
go on.
Amarin? He's mentioned about the amount of press he's had to do. Obviously, it wasn't the greatest start to his Man United career. We're not going to ask you to assess him after game one, but are you positive or are you a bit maybe not narcissistic, pessimistic, thinking we're just going to be back around here again in 18 months' time? Are you more leaning on the positive side?
Well, I listened to Liam's favourite podcast midweek last week.
You should try listening to ours. We need the views.
And it was a United special, and he had
just so people know the podcast. It means Duncan Castle's transfer podcast, by the way, everyone.
No, just read between the lines. Luke doesn't give details, just bounce around it.
Well, yeah, so I listened to that and I nearly got bought into the PR because what the guy was saying on that podcast, it was like saying all the right things. Oh, he took over at Sporting when he was in trouble, turned them around. He likes looking at players and bringing them back to life. He likes this attacking football. He's one with the fans. Just it was a bit of a PR stunt. And I was slowly like thinking, wow, he can come in and make a real impact here. But then I thought about it and I thought the players what I've seen for the last few years now, I just feel that there's a lot of work that needs to be done. The type of players that what was described in that podcast, I just don't think we have. Like he's saying that I think it was 7 out of 11 players for that Sporting Lisbon team were left-footed, so he prefers that left-footed player. So maybe Anthony gets a shout in.
Jesus Christ, not Anthony. Right, so, but all in all, what about this 3-4-3 then? So last bit on Man United. Do you think you've got the players to make something like that work, or are you expecting stuff to happen in January, or do you think there's going to be needing a lot of like a wholesale changes to get players in to fit the system?
100%.
A lot.
Yeah. I think to play this system, I think the players that we've got now are just not up for that task. I'm happy to be pleasantly surprised, but it's just I don't see it. I've not seen it for the past few seasons. So, well, yeah, I think spending will be happening in January, but it's not going to be a quick win. It's going to be a slow burn, definitely.
Right, last bit on Man United. What is a passable season for Ruben Amorim now?
Well, the aim should definitely be still top 4, 100%.
So you're saying no top 4 is failure?
Yeah, for United, yeah, 100%. That should be every season.
Yeah,
so
to be fair,
Amorim has failed if he doesn't get top 4 this season.
I like to agree. I think he's got enough time. That'd be my opinion. I think he's got enough time now, and the league there isn't 4 standout candidates for the top 4 places. There may be.
Came 8th last year, United.
Yeah.
We remember.
Okay.
So, right, Liam, let's have a quick break, and then we've got some other stuff to talk about.
Okay.
And we're back. This is the second half of this podcast where we talk about something that we could probably fix. You can help us by subscribing on YouTube and joining us on Instagram and Twitter, stuff like that, whatever you want to call it. We're even on that Blue Sky thing now, Luke. I bet you've got a Blue Sky account.
Blue Sky?
Blue Sky, yeah. They call it, what do they call it? Screet. Do you know a tweet is called a tweet? Like Twitter have tweets. On Blue Sky, you do a screet.
Oh,
What's blue sky?
Liam, do you have a good explanation of what blue sky is?
I think it's like the idea of it is everyone's idealistic Twitter, pre-Elon
Yeah.
Musk, and no abuse. But
It's lefty
the abuse,
Twitter.
Yeah, the abuse will come. It always comes.
Yeah.
It won't stick around. It
No.
won't stick around. I think Threads didn't really stick around. This won't stick around. It's supposed to be a nice Twitter. You should probably do it, Luke. You know.
Yeah, I'd be into that. If
You don't
it
have to
was
scroll
nice.
around getting
It is
people eaten by
nice.
crocodiles and hit by trains every 5 minutes.
Yeah, like what Martin's done to our For You page on the Instagram account.
Our
Sorry,
Twitter
not
admin.
X account, sorry.
Our Twitter admin is an absolute sociopath, narcissistic, borderline psychotic, just criminally minded menace.
Yeah, so hi if you're listening, Scott.
Yes, please do subscribe anyway. Follow us on Spotify. Wherever you get your podcasts, don't forget about our David Beckham signed shirt competition and help us get to 1,000 subscribers. Liam, as we were saying before, we went to Tottenham Hotspur Stadium this week, and I think we both agreed the hype was real. It was magnificent. Like, I don't know what the word is, where you hate how good something is of your enemies. Because it was really annoying that was
Jealousy?
Tottenham Stadium. Yeah.
Jealousy?
Yeah,
Pretty-
but
yeah.
I'm trying to think of a word that doesn't make me admit to jealousy. I'm not jealous of their stadium. I love the Emirates, but they have a fantastic stadium. You know what I mean? There's a word for that.
Begrudgingly.
I begrudgingly admit that they have a fantastic stadium. It's massive. It doesn't go below ground level at all. It is all above. Like, it looks like the new camp from outside of Wembley or something. It's brilliant. But, Liam, there is an argument that these new modern balls are killing the modern game. They're killing... Oh, no, maybe not killing the modern game. Maybe they're enhancing the modern game. But they are killing the soul of the game. Becoming a...
It's the gentrification of football, isn't it? That's what we're talking about here. These
basically
modern all-seater stadiums where Tottenham's a really good example. And this is sort of where the topic came in, because with Tottenham, the idea is that no longer do you go and spend your money elsewhere. The idea is that you're there for the full experience of the day, and you will spend money at Tottenham. You will have your pre-match pint at Tottenham's massive bars and the concourses, and you won't be anywhere else. Like, the whole experience is there. And it's quite moving away from what football was, this idea of stadiums in town centres. Well, obviously London's a little bit different from that, but I think Bolton's a good example where they've moved outside of a town centre and put it outside of the town. And you'll see that in quite a lot of modern football grounds. Very few of them, London aside, because London's just a metropolis. There's nowhere. There is no outside the town centre in London.
Leicester's is a good example.
Yeah, Leicester's is a fantastic example of it. Like, it's a proper trek away from the town centre, and so for example, the idea is that away from these old stadiums with the history and atmosphere and cop ends, and it's moving away to this idea of middle class comfort football that is completely sterilised, and I think that's what we're going to be able to chat about today.
There's two lanes that I want to go down, but the first one is I didn't frequent Highbury that much, but I did go a couple times, and moving to the Emirates felt like a natural progression for me. It felt like we needed it in terms of the size of the club, and Highbury it's quite a special place to be in, but I love the Emirates, and I don't think Arsenal has lost anything by moving there. I think they've done it really well, especially, since Arteta's come in, basically, and things have been on the up, but the atmosphere is totally different. It's the best it's ever been, the best I've ever seen it in terms of atmosphere-wise. But you as a young kid when Bolton moved to the Reebok Stadium at the time from Burnham Park, Do you remember much of Burnham Park?
Yeah, not hugely. I was 6, 7. I had a season ticket the last year there, so I do remember it. The main overbearing thing I remember is the smell of piss. To be completely honest, it absolutely stunk of piss, like really, really bad. And I think the thing is, the difference with Burnham Park, I think, than to a lot of these sort of older grounds, is that it really was a dump. Like it was really, really bad. Like
the transport connection as well must have been horrible.
Well, not that part of it, not too bad. It was not far from the Bolton train station. And
that area, if Bolton Stadium,
it's not the best part of like if Lowry's painted it, it's a fucking shithole, isn't it? Like Lowry's gone there and gone. Even for a football ground, this is a shithole. Like let's paint this. So yeah, that's what I remember. I think Bolton needed to move. Some of these grounds needed to do it. So like another good example of that, I think, is Sunderland, the old Roker Park. Like that was quite similar, where it's a complete like moving was just they had to do it to essentially continue to exist. Really, like the ground is not safe really anymore. Like there's a few examples like that, but I think when you talk about Arsenal, let's bring it sort of back to Arsenal, which is something I like to do, as you know. I think Arsenal's a very good example of the reasons why a modern club will make that move, because they've moved from Highbury, which is a fantastic old ground, steeped with history of one of England's biggest clubs, a famous stadium, but they've essentially moved to commercially go to the next level. Now, and what you heard for about, I'd say after about 3 or 4 years, is that Arsenal's matchday revenue was unmatched across the Premier League. Now, that's probably not the case now, particularly with what's down the road. But it allowed Arsenal to make that move. But where I kind of disagree a little bit is that they made the move fantastic. I disagree. I think that move in the first sort of few years after, I think it took you from the top level down to the next level. And I think you've recovered, and I think there's the reasons for doing it are still there. But I think you lost a bit of your. That was one of the reasons I think you left the top table of English football, because you were no longer able to invest in players in the same way because your stadium costs so much.
Yeah, there's probably some truth in that. Yeah, I can't disagree. There's maybe other factors and the cycles of people behind the scenes, and look at people like David Dean who become less involved and then leaving not long after we got to the Emirates. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't disagree entirely, although it's quite painful to admit. Luke, Manchester United are in the conversation of a new stadium or rebuilding into one of these big, giant commercial bowls. How do you feel about that? Having seen this process from a lot of other clubs, including Man City as well.
In all honesty, I'm not really that fussed, to be honest. only because I'm not. But I don't buy into this. Oh, I'm going there to be comfy and have a great day out. I'm going there to watch United. It's not like I'm not bothered. It's if it. I don't really care if we have a new stadium and all this complaint. Yes, 100% fix the leaky roof, 100%. But you're not there for. That's not what football is. To go to like enjoy the stadium. You weren't there to watch the team.
Yeah, but
play.
Fair enough. Like fair enough. I was an estate agent when I get people don't feel the same way about houses as other people do. The old it's just bricks and mortar type argument. So I kind of get what you're saying, but from the other perspective, looking at Old Trafford as it is now, would you miss the current stadium? Like, does it hold any kind of special regard to you, Old Trafford, or could it be there, or could you be playing anywhere? Like, it doesn't really matter for you.
It kind of my granddad's house is a spread over Old Trafford. So okay. It has a little bit to me.
So this is what we're saying then, that to move. So on that topic, you'd be in favour of more of a redevelopment than a new site.
Look, I think I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're too far ahead with this assembling of main Manchester heads that they want to.
That's exactly what it is. All the main heads are there. Sean Ryder's there. Gary Neville.
Yeah.
I think that's what's going to happen. There's no point really kind of arguing against it, I suppose. But I'm. There's obviously a sentimental value for me personally, but at the end of the day, I'm there to watch the team. That's it. Like what Liam said, it's just brick and mortars to me.
Like, could you not prefer what Liverpool have done, where they've gone the other way and slowly redeveloping Anfield into a much bigger stadium? Because I've been in that new Centenary stand, and it's not as good as Tottenham, obviously, but it's still very, very good with the redevelopment. It's still very, very nice, and they're keeping themselves in Anfield, which has that historical importance, and it means a lot to a lot of people. Would that not be a preference to you, do you think? Or
I think it's difficult, Old Trafford, because of the railway, how they can't really extend that other side.
Look, we're not asking you to. It doesn't matter. You don't have to give the argument for and against why it's not going to happen. We just want how you're going to feel about it, either side of what's going to happen.
Look, we've known you long enough to know that you're not, an architect. Like we know that. Like, so
we're not asking you to worry about the foundations and if
we're
it's
not
going
asking
to
you to
stay up.
Build a new monorail in Gotham or anything.
Right.
We just want to.
Here's the kicker. Do you want to stay at Old Trafford because that site and that spot and that pitch means something to you? Or do you want to go into a big new shiny stadium, however that's going to look, whether it looks like Bayern Munich's glow-in-the-dark fucking nuclear stadium, or do you want and do that and reap the benefits of the commercial profits that will come in?
I'll add on the question. Real Madrid and Barcelona have done the same as Liverpool. So they've super renovated, particularly Bernabeu. That's like a ridiculous now, isn't it? Like that.
Yeah.
They've almost done a Tottenham with the Bernabeu. It's taken them ages. But yeah.
Yeah. It's about a 10-year job that they've done at the Bernabeu. But yeah, and then Man United with this new superpower with all the right people in place and everything in a new stadium and loads of screens and 120,000 people there every week. Do you want to go down that route? See what happens that way?
And Wi-Fi.
Yeah, they don't have any Wi-Fi in. It's got better actually, Old Trafford. No, I'd have option one. I'm happy to just stay where we are and just modernize it.
Okay. Well, Liam, on our trip down to London, we was listening to fellow nominee Kieran Maguire on The Price of Football.
Yes.
And he did mention about Arsenal looking into upgrading their stadium as well to keep up with the Joneses. And, we went into the Emirates at 2006, so it's probably time we could, and commercially we could definitely
do that long? We're nearly 20 years old now, yeah.
Yeah, we could do Arsenal could easily fill an 80,000 seat stadium. It's 60,000, it's full to the brim every week, and it always has been. But has Kieran Maguire...
Sorry, go on.
Right, you could point to me one or two matches, but more often than not, it's totally sold out. What Kieran Maguire was saying, and what this is what Tottenham have done as well, Luke, is not make additional season tickets available. So say Arsenal want to go to 80,000 from 60, but that doesn't mean all these people on the waiting list are going to be first in line for a season ticket. That's not the way it's going to work. These 20,000 are basically for London day trippers and people go to London for the same experience that they get in the NFL. And we've spoke about the Americanization of it all before, but people in the same way people go to New York, they go and watch a Knicks game or a Jets game, and they go and they spend a couple $100 in the club shop, and they're there for the weekend. That's what Tottenham have done great. If you look at the general Korean attendance that Tottenham get per game, because of Son Heung-min, that they have certain allocations that go out into their Korean fan base, and that's how people want to attract other fans and new eyes and potentially other sponsorship deals and stuff like that. So I wanted to get both of your thoughts on that, really. In the fact that we can then get 80,000 people in a stadium and reap the financial benefits from that, but is that adding to the soullessness of these big commercial bowls? And whoever wants to go first, feel free.
After you, Luke.
Yeah, it doesn't sit with me that at all. Like, I think we're talking about a different thing than football here now. Just a commercialization and bringing money in. It doesn't sit right with me that at all. Like, just building a stadium that's 100,000 so you can bring in Korean fans. That's not
Other
what
nations,
football.
nations are there as well, but it's part of the package, and that's what will happen at Man United when they go from 75 to 100. That's what's going to happen.
I want to be clear. We're not singling out Korean fans here.
That's what happens at United anyway. That's always because the biggest stadium. We have a lot of foreign attendees at Old Trafford, and that's always been the case.
But less so because now City are increasing.
No,
fans aren't going to go there.
I don't believe there is any City fans. I think there's about 20 in the world.
Maybe 20 diehards, but there's 40,000 there at least a week. Maybe 50. I'm not sure what the attendance is now at the Etihad because they've expanded and they're still expanding. And that whole facility, if you go like the Co-op Live and even the connections into the city centre are all really great there now. So Man City's a far better product, by the way, just for a match ticket, and then everything else that goes with it along the way, in terms of their packages where they can entice, non-season ticket holders, just a Manchester day tripper.
So, is there not too much money? Like, how much money do we need? How much is too much?
Well, never doubt the will of the rich wanting to get a little bit richer, mate.
Yeah, I get it. Commercialization, I get it. I just, I'm not really bothered. I'm just there to watch the game. To be honest,
you could illegally stream it, and that'll really show them.
Well, going off what you said in the last podcast, your solution, I think,
was your solution. No, that was the other one. No, it wasn't.
Yeah,
Liam. Liam, what do you think on that?
Well, I wouldn't mind some tourists coming to watch Bolton if they wanted to. They've been more than welcome.
They just need something else to do other than coming and watching Bolton.
Well, yeah, there's a few thousand empty seats at Bolton. It's only a train ride away from Manchester. It's electrified, that line now. It's only 20 or 25 minutes. 2 stops. You can be there in no time.
Liam, you'd hate it. You'd hate it. If you said it before with like the Wrexham thing, like you'd hate day trippers at Bolton.
Yeah, I don't like new people. I'm like a regular in a pub that, like, as soon as the door opens, it's someone new. Like, stares at them straight away. Yeah.
Who's putting fucking karaoke on in here?
Go and unplug the jukebox. Like, yeah, I probably would. Although, yes, I mean, no one wants to see the regular fans missing out on the tickets today. But everything that we've talked about here is exactly what is happening. And in terms of fixing it, the fix of the football podcast, it's very hard to. But I do think that the independent regulator, this is sort of where they should be getting in. And if a stadium does increase in size, a certain percentage of those seats should be made available to new season ticket holders.
At least half.
Well,
got to.
Look, whatever the percentage is, but like, these sort of things, quotas, do exist in other industries. Like, if you build new houses in an area, the council will often only agree to it if a certain amount of those houses are affordable housing. And this building work would need planning permission. So there is a way of actually holding the clubs to account. It's not just up to the clubs. Like, the clubs would need planning permission to build these extensions or whatever. If I needed to fucking put a porch in the front of my house, they definitely need to build 15,000 extra seats at Bolton. So, yeah, you could absolutely make a case that X amount of those need to be season ticket holders in X amount of area. as a subject to getting the planning. Would a council do that? I mean, have they thought about doing it? I don't know.
Yeah,
Possibly.
I don't know.
I think that's where you can potentially get a thing that's win-win for everybody, because don't get me wrong, I do see the value in the tourism element, and it's what makes the Premier League good, the fact that it's those global TV deals and the fact that it's watched around the world and players want to play in it from all around the world. That all has its merit, but you know, you don't want to move away from local fans, so yeah.
Right. So that's our fix then. You think that maybe
Sorted.
that's
Next.
I think that the fix should be half of new seats added to the stadium should be rewarded, especially for, you know, Arsenal, Manchester United, who are lucky enough to have a waiting list for people who want a season ticket.
There's not many empty seats in the Premier League every week. Like there's very few. Like in any ground, there's very few empty seats.
That's true. So, you know, in the grand scheme of football clubs in the world, you're in a very select few when you've got people on a waiting list for years and years. Like I remember, it was always like 10 years at Manchester United to get on a season ticket.
To be honest, football across the board is much better attended post-COVID than it was pre-COVID. Like even Bolton were doing well in the early 2000s for most games. Like we were nowhere near that pre-COVID. So like there is a lot of appetite to watch live football at the moment. So, you know, we don't want to see all those tickets going to people that, you know, just there for the one day, even though I do agree there is a value for that. So yeah, more tickets for proper fans. That's the fix, as it always is. Probably could have said that half an hour ago, and we'd all agree on that.
Luke, Manchester United going forward, less tourists, more fans.
Well, I've got a question, and it's probably more directed at Liam. It's just to see if if it's the same at Bolton. So, United have bought this thing in where you need to buy a membership. So, say Josh has his season ticket, and I want to go, and he wants to send it me. I have to pay for a membership, for a forward membership.
How much?
I think it's 35 quid.
Is that a season?
Year.
Yeah, a year. But again, if you want to forward your ticket now, the person you forward has to pay United 35 quid.
Yeah, but that's just
okay.
That's more to stop totes in it than
This is an episode on itself. This Luke, the new touting and swapping tickets and the clubs becoming their own touts kind of thing. Like because if you give the ticket back, they sell it on like corporate packet. This is a topic on itself, Luke. But no, Bolton is nowhere near as stringent on that. Like for example, one of my friends didn't attend the game on Saturday, and he sends me the ticket saying, "Does your dad want this?" And it's just a QR code, and he can just scan it as he go through. So the answer is no. Like it's nowhere near as strict at Bolton. If I was to buy a ticket, though, I'd need a membership. But I think that's true of most clubs now, more for police purposes. They want some kind of buying history so they can do it. So I think most clubs, you need to be a member of some kind before you can buy a ticket. I did try and buy a ticket for Stockport versus Bolton in the Stockport end, and unfortunately they were cancelled the day before because I had no previous booking history with Stockport. But at Bolton you wouldn't be able to do that because I wouldn't have had a membership to kick off with. So
you see, Scott is trying to, because it's so hard for people. You get rewarded for every time you buy a ticket, but because, you know, like I say, in the top Premier League club, the stadium's sold out to the people who go regularly anyway.
Do you not think it's unfair though if the ticket's already been paid by Josh, that he can't screenshot it and just send it to me? I have to pay, so I have to pay the middleman, which is United. So on this app, if he tries to screenshot it, it won't allow it.
It might sting a little bit, but if that is the best way around touting, I'm all for that, because that's another way of killing the game. I mean, the clubs will take advantage. I think you're right, Liam, that the clubs will become the touts themselves.
I think this is one for next week. Talking about ticket reselling, I think that's right in our sweet spot. I think Luke's raised a good point, and I think we could remember that we raised it this time because I feel like we do this quite often. We'll talk about this next week and have no recollection, and also we move on to oh, we're talking about Chelsea this week. But so I think we try and remember that we've said this because I actually think that's a really good topic. Ticket resale and stuff like that, particularly for this Scott's on as well. Like your three clubs' experience of that. I believe Arsenal's horrific at the moment for resale. So
I wanted to talk about Liverpool. I wanted to talk about Liverpool, but Ten Hag went and got sacked, so I was struggling. we had to fit something in. But yeah, getting the points. We saw with we will cover this bit, but like Aston Villa going crazy on the pricing for the Champions League games, and that was essentially what they was doing with that.
Yeah,
I think you're right.
Good work, Luke. Good little question, that Luke. Well done.
No problem.
Right, let's wrap it up though. Have we fixed football again? Is that
a little bit of it?
I can live with that. I can live with fixing it a bit.
I suppose it depends if people listen, which brings on to our next point, Martin, of what they need to do, don't they, to make sure they keep listening.
Good segue.
Good, thank you.
Please do not forget to subscribe. I really want to get to 1,000 subscribers. It might not. It's looking like it might not happen before Christmas, but you never know.
Stretch. They call that a stretch goal, man.
Yeah. I'm visualizing it, willing it into existence.
When I was in sales, I used to get stretch goal targets, and I'm like, right, well, I don't agree with this concept, but yeah, sorry, go on.
So, thank you everyone for listening. Please do go and subscribe or follow us on YouTube. Join in with us on Instagram and X and even Blue Sky. To be honest, I'm not running Blue Sky.
Luke's going to be the Blue Sky guy.
Luke will be our head of meta and Blue Sky admin. So feel free to get involved. Be as mean as you want. Let's bring Blue Sky down. Get screeting or whatever the fuck they call it.
Horrible word, that.
All the information for everything, including the David Beckham signed shirt competition. Got to mention it again, and we've got to get involved. And everyone, please do go and share it, because that's how you get more entries. The more entries you get, the more chance you have of winning, and it'll make a really nice Christmas present for someone. I'll get it out to you. Yeah, well, you've not even entered, so it might help if you enter the actual competition to win it.
Yeah, I'll let people know. Like,
will that not be controversial if I win it though?
Yeah,
fair enough.
But then that would bring eyes. That would bring eyes on the podcast, though, wouldn't it?
Podcast host wins own competition.
All publicity is good publicity.
It is at this point. Thank you everyone for listening. Find all the information at www.fixingfootballpodcast.com, and we will catch you next week. Say bye, everyone.
Ta-ra.